Over here in the UK, it's 11 o'clock, and on the East Coast, 6 p.m. is the time. And Hurricane Matthew is virtually making landfall over eastern Cuba. The headline right now remains the breaking news that we announced a few moments ago, a while ago now, is that Hurricane Watch is now in effect for Lake Okeechobee, and that will be reflected in the National Hurricane Center's update 2 hours from now. My name's Nathan Foy. I'm joined by the Skype team at this hour, consisting of myself, Craig, Tropical Storm Nuke, Hank, and Strat. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And we were mulling through the models, and we had 2 more to go, didn't we?
Yes, we did. I'll get those up as soon as my screen share decides to work with me.
Well, while he's doing that, I would like to mention, the Florida concerns that are 2 days out are definitely more important than the Cuban lives, and also Sparrow had probably the best comment I've ever seen on stream, which is and it was actually a question too. Do you think people are overreacting, about concerns about the U.S. specifically? Specifically in chat, I would say.
I think probably in the chat, I guess so, yeah. But I've seen reports that Walmarts are going dry. The shelves are running dry because people are getting ready. Now, good for people for getting ready. Don't get me wrong, but it's still it's still too early to say what this is.
I know someone was asking how bad's Maine going to be hit and stuff. You can't really anything more than 2 days out is actually pretty uncertain right now. So
we were going through models. Here's the NavGen model. It says interesting solution in landfall in Miami. Take all this with a grain of salt, by the way. Reemerges into the Gulf once again, and then just takes its time to move up towards the northeast.
That is
I could see that happening.
We could. HWF, aka the infamous
God model,
is saying that this is from the 12 zits. This is from this morning, on the East Coast. It says a landfall on the Outer Banks, and barely a landfall in Maine, and then looks like that thing becomes a quite
monster extratropical storm.
Yeah, that thing.
I think if you look at vorticity, that's something to keep an eye on with it.
This thing is absolutely huge, first off. Second off, that thing becomes absolutely huge.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow. Good Lord. That's 850 millibar ones. This is 10 millibar ones.
Yeah. Now, I would say specifically, just with all the oh my god. I'd say with all the models, my biggest concern really is that despite the fact it's in a negatively tilted trough, they still show, moving in a northeast direction. And if you don't know what a negatively tilted trough is, it means a trough that's caught a storm and the steering winds would be back to the northwest at the moment.
If you missed it, that's simulated satellite imagery, not real.
This is simulated. So, for better resolution, let's zoom in a little bit. So, just moving through the Bahamas. This is simulated. Looks like not too much on the coast of Florida. But then, does its own stuff in the northeast. So
keep in mind, anything more than 2 days out is pretty speculative right now.
Keep that in mind in October, because October is just a weird month in general.
So just because it shows it being a monster in Canada does not mean it will be.
Let's bring out the recent case in point, Hurricane Joaquin, which was at one point predicted to make landfall as a Category 3 in North Carolina. Didn't get anywhere close.
Yeah, I do think that by tomorrow that Joaquin will show up as an analog.
No,
not necessarily. I wouldn't say that.
Please no.
Don't do that. But
bad idea.
You see, the thing with Joaquin was that the Euro had it going out to sea. It was very consistent about going out to sea. None of the models are consistent of it doing what they were saying for Joaquin. So that's the more concerning thing, is that we don't have that one outlier model that keeps the storm far away from land. So that's the concerning thing, that all the models take this thing having some significant impact on the East Coast.
They've all been changing constantly as well, which is
that's another thing. And GFDO has kind of a worst case scenario for Lake Okeechobee moving.
I will say the only 2 miles that have really shown consistency are God model. The GFS has shown some consistency, like especially with the Outer Banks and stuff, and Haiti in general.
Mhm.
But that's been pretty much often moving from really close to landfall in Florida to 200 miles off, hitting the Outer Banks to being well at the sea. So nothing's really been consistent at all, and that's one of the biggest problems with the storm because it's just so unpredictable.
It's getting more consistent as the days come. Because when the storm was still in Invest, we didn't know we didn't know if it was going to move towards Honduras or Nicaragua or the Dominican Republic or Cuba into the Gulf. Or we didn't know. But then once it became at least by Saturday time frame, we had a pretty good idea it was going to curve north and do what it's doing right now.
Yeah,
which is doing probably some complete devastation, unfortunately, in Haiti.
I think we can say that, as the days came closer, it becomes more clear. But in terms of, time span, difference, how far out it is, the models have just been staying as inaccurate as we've ever seen them, really.
Yes. But apart from Matthew, we've seen many storms in the past, at least 3 years, or 4 years, excuse me, during October that have just defying everything the models have been saying it would do. Both in the Eastern Pacific and Atlantic. Those 3 storms are Sandy, Joaquin, and Patricia. Sandy and Joaquin defied track, while Patricia obviously defied intensity. So intensity forecasts are not nearly as good as the track forecasts are, because when Patricia formed, I honestly thought it was going to move into the coastal weak tropical storm, but nope, it became the second strongest storm ever seen globally. That's besides the point. But Matthew is not Patricia. It will never be Patricia. But it's being more devastating than Patricia. So
that's true in a really twisted way. It's true.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but well, Patricia really didn't do that much damage comparatively to.
I would say a lot of people are asking, yeah.
Yeah, what could have happened with Patricia could have been
And I would say people are also still asking about Florida. I've seen a few comments about North Carolina.
Yes, there's gonna be comments like that.
But I would say Florida, you definitely got to prepare. Things are looking worse by the hour. Overall predictions are looking worse by the hour. North Carolina, it's still too far to tell with North Carolina. Make sure you have everything ready in case it really does happen, but don't say that you're gonna be hit really hard.
I wouldn't say it's getting worse by the hour because I don't really want to cause panic here, Strat. But
in terms of outlook, people are getting grimmer about it in general.
Yeah, people are just getting more and more just grim. I'm just gonna look at some of the comments. Yeah, you already made someone a little bit scared. So that's a nice comment.
Yeah, I guess that's what I really meant. People, their outlook's getting worse. Someone just said, does Maine have to prepare? Again, you gotta, watch the system, but nothing's set in stone.
Yes, I have a question.
What they say about sports, it's never over till it's over.
Yeah. So I thought I heard Nook trying to say something. You want to say anything, Nook?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments. I have a question from J. Davo the Gamer. Says, I'm going to Orlando Friday from the UK. Does anyone know if it'll hit Orlando?
Are you saying that you're flying into Orlando or are you flying to the United Kingdom? I didn't get the context correctly.
Let me read it off again. Give me 1 second. He's going to Orlando. So he's coming in. He's from the UK. He's going to Orlando.
Okay, well, there's a pretty good chance your flight's either going to get delayed or canceled, so that's one thing. But even if you do get to Orlando,
yes.
It should in that area. It shouldn't be too bad. You'll probably see some rain showers and some gusty winds. You're inland, you won't see any storm surge. So that's basically about it. We also have a question from Sparrow C asking, kind of unrelated but still a question. what was the strongest, most devastating storm? Strongest ever seen globally is Tip, but that's arguable. The most devastating storm worldwide by cost is Katrina. By death toll is the polar cyclone of 1970. Other questions?
And I
Is
mean,
there going
in
to
terms
be
of
school in Orlando because of this storm? You'll have to pay attention to Orlando's school district, which I believe is Orange County Public Schools. You'll have to follow their social media outlets for that information. Actually, I can check it for you right now. If I
man, Nuke, you're going in on that. I would say,
I live in Orlando, so I can pretty much just get anything.
for Sparrow, about strongest storms, I think she has Patricia in her mind. That was actually very lucky. That made landfall in the least populated area possible. So.
Well,
that
was the least populated area possible, but at least it wasn't Manzanillo.
At least the least populated area nearby it.
Good lord, imagine what could happen if it made landfall.
So that was very fortunate.
God, I don't
want to think about
Mexico got very lucky. Alex Happy asks, should I be concerned about Matthew if I live in Burke, North Carolina? First off, let me find out what Burke is. I think that's along the coast.
I think.
Burke is not in North Carolina. 1 sec. Burke and
There must be more than one.
Yeah.
And while you're looking at that, Son of Hendrix asks, can they measure total energy of a storm? That's basically the ACE, right? That's the ACE of the storm.
What ACE basically is, it's basically,
a calculation.
The calculation of how long the storm has lived, how intense it is, and basically all that sort of
impact.
And well, not necessarily impact, but just the storm's energy in general.
Yeah.
But Burke, North Carolina, that's nowhere near the coast. You should be fine.
Is there Burke, Florida though?
Probably, but that wasn't really the question. The storm.
Double check that.
You could see.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, it doesn't. There's a town called Burke in Florida.
Yeah, there's a town with that name.
Burke is quite far inland, so you might see some. You'll be lucky to see the shower, in my opinion, because this storm's wind field.
And like we've been saying, it's too early to tell anything north of Florida. It's too early to tell if there even be any significant impacts.
Yeah, it's still way.
And even if we're saying we don't know, keep in mind that regardless of where the storm goes, there will be significant riptides and choppy oceans and stuff. So whether or not it hits land, it's not really going to be safe this week on the East Coast to really go into the ocean and stuff.
No, Sparrow, you really aren't annoying us. Just keep asking the good questions. They're quite helpful.
I have the answer to Gabriel's question he asked, which was, is Orlando schools going to be open because of the storm? Orlando, as I said, was an Orange County Public Schools system. They said on Wednesday, October 5th, classes and after-school activities will continue as scheduled. Thursday, October 6th, determination of operations will be made midday on Wednesday. All decisions are made in consultation with the National Weather Service and local emergency management offices. Information will be communicated via their phone messages, their website, and Twitter and Facebook.
So basically, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow to find out.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, has canceled classes Thursday into Friday. They say they want to communicate, get information through email, social media, phone systems may be overrun through Friday. Students staying in town during Matthew, monitor your email for updates regarding sheltering and dining on campus. So people riding out the storm, they have the option to stay in Rollins just in case they don't have any good shelter. That's it. That's about it for Orange County, I think.
Elsewhere in the US at this hour, we have some issues. A tornado watch is in effect for southern Oklahoma and for parts of Kansas and southeastern Nebraska at this time, with some severe thunderstorm warnings out there as well. So not just the hurricane going on.
I have not checked at all in the severe weather situation because.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of just, slightly been ignoring that. Just a little bit.
Not really ignoring.
This
has only happened in the last hour that they've started putting things up.
Well, at least we can say that.
Yeah.
That's our excuse. There is actually a tornado watch over a pretty wide stretch, actually, as well. Not only a pretty long area over east central Kansas and into the southeastern part of Nebraska, but also there's another pretty large pocket in south and south central Oklahoma as well. So
Yeah, that includes.
Yeah.
These watches do include the Oklahoma City and Wichita metroplexes.
So that-
Just in case if you were about it. But going back onto the, if any tornado warnings pop up, then if someone can,
I'll let you know.
Yeah. I get
Um,
alerts.
but going back to Matthew right now, because this is the main topic, of our live stream today. Let me read out the warnings really quick.
Yep, good
Hurricane
idea.
warning. Yeah, hurricane warning is in effect for all of Haiti, although the conditions in Haiti are beginning to improve. Fortunately, hurricane warning also in effect for Cuban provinces of Guantanamo, Santiago de Cuba, Holguin, Granma, and Las Tunas, in the southeastern Bahamas, including the Iguanas, Mayaguana, Alkins, Cricket Island, Long Key, and Ragged Islands. The central Bahamas, including Long Island, Exuma, Rum Key, San Salvador, and Cat Island. And the northwestern Bahamas, including Abacos, Andros Island, Berry Islands, Bimini, Eleuthera, I believe that's the island that Nassau is on, Grand Bahama Island, and New Providence. What a hurricane warning means is that hurricane conditions are likely within the next 24 hours. Hurricane watch, which means that hurricane conditions are possible within the next 36 to 48 hours. That's in effect for the Cuban province of Camagüey, and in Florida from Golden Beach to the Louisiana-Brevard County line. A tropical storm warning, which means that tropical storm conditions are likely within the next 24 hours, are in effect in the Dominican Republic from Barahona westward to the border with Haiti, as well as the Turks and Caicos Islands. The tropical storm watch, which means tropical storm conditions are possible within the next 36 to 48 hours, are in effect in the Dominican Republic from Puerto Plata westward to the border with Haiti. In Florida, the 7 Mile Bridge south of Golden Beach, as well as all of Lake Okeechobee. So those are the warnings in effect for the system right now.
And just to mention, in terms any possible lessening of warnings and stuff, at least for southern Haiti and the southern Dominican Republic, their warnings and stuff should go away pretty soon as the storm moves north. However, it's still kind of definitely going to be giving hurricane force winds to northern Haiti, so keep watch of that. Also, Jamaica's out of it. All their warnings have been lifted and stuff.
Yeah,
and
Jamaica's impact was much.
They were spared pretty much. It
was thought that they would get the front of the system.
3 days ago.
Other storms going on in the Atlantic right now. We have this one disturbance to the north French Guiana right now, moving westwards towards the Windward Islands, the same area that Matthew hit at least a week ago, or maybe a little bit less than that. Basically, 10% chance of formation within 40 hours and 20% in 5 days. And
that changes pretty quickly.
Thunderstorms.
It changes pretty quick, as we saw with quote unquote Nicole, or AKA our friendly cloud. That 2 days ago was at 10%, and by late last night it was at 70. So.
Well, yeah, but then again, Julia was at 0% that morning, and then that evening it became a quote unquote tropical storm.
Well, then again, that's just really weird because that was over land as well.
Well, yeah, that was an anomaly itself. But anyways, back to what's going on right now. We also have tropical storm, which I guess you could say is a tropical depression, at least right now. Looking at it, it's no longer an invest as it looks. It looks better now. It has winds of 50 miles an hour, apparently, and a pressure of 1,005 millibars. That should move not really near any land areas. Bermuda might get some impacts. By the time it would get impacts, it would be a very weak storm. It probably wouldn't do much at all.
Last time I checked, it just goes around in a big circle. There's no.
Yeah, although there was a drastic change in the forecast track. At first, it had getting drunk and going southwest, and then I have it getting drunk and going northeast.
Yeah.
No, they had it going southwest, trying to get absorbed into Matthew. I'm pretty sure, or at least
that's probably the best guess.
At least do a little bit of a Fujiwara effect and kind of circle it. But now it's no longer forecast to do that. Now it's just going to shoot off to the northeast. It looks like it has a very weak system.
Yeah. And Sparrow's asking another question, saying, if I'm in a hotel with parentheses, if the hurricane hits, what should I do what should I do with stocking up on food and like windows, for example?
Well, first of all, where are you? First off, I'm guessing
There's
you'd be
the
in
430
Florida because.
website.
Yeah, let's just go off the
just say
assumption Florida.
So okay, assuming you're in Florida and you're in a hotel, one, what I would do is I would keep monitoring Force 13 for one, but the National Weather Service, your local weather office, just to get the latest information. If there are any, evacuation orders put into place.
He's in the Orlando area, he said.
Yeah.
The Orlando area. Okay, so we have a lot of people.
Let's just assume like the Hilton Inn or something. Hilton Garden, whatever.
We have a lot of people coming in from Orlando, including one on this live stream.
And I've just added Orlando to the room.
Oh,
well, what do you know?
That's wonderful.
He's not in Orlando.
Yeah, he's headquartered in New Jersey. But anyways, in Orlando, the conditions should not be as bad as along the coast. You obviously won't get any storm surge because you're nowhere near the coast, or at least not on the coastline. You'll probably see some rain showers, some gusts.
A couple miles from Disney World, he says.
She on me last night.
That general area.
It's kind of a tit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You should be fine, but just continue to keep an eye on the system.
And she also asked another great question on saying, what would happen with a hurricane if, absorbed another system, like the Fujiwara effect?
There is a great video on YouTube. It's made by Storm Shield app, I think they're called. It goes into a lot of detail about it. One example, I think, some tropical storm basically joined together into another tropical storm, and it didn't strengthen. It just made it a little bit bigger. That's pretty much the Fujiwara effect in a nutshell.
It's think of like a Gario.
Sort of
you absorb
like
another thing and you get bigger.
I don't think it's a hard
Okay, let's not
Yeah.
compare the Fujiwara effect with a Gario. What that is when two cyclones get pretty close to each other, they begin to kind of rotate around each other because they can't be absorbed because the wind shear from each other would just rip them apart. So they can't combine into one big storm. Pretty good example of that earlier this year was I think Lion Rock when it was still a tropical storm before it became a typhoon, and Typhoon Mindul as it was approaching Japan. They kind of did a little bit of a rotation around each other. So that it's pretty common to see it in the Western Pacific. In the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific, not so much. You'll see them every now and then. Or you could see storms get absorbed. A pretty good example of that would be with Hurricane Wilma. After it made its landfall in Florida, the last major hurricane landfall in the whole United States, it absorbed on the way the first Greek name storm to have formed in 2005. Not the first ever, but first in history that we had to exhaust the naming list. But anyways, what happened was Alpha was only a tropical storm, and it got absorbed by Wilma as it was rocketing off to the northeast. So it can happen. And going back to what I was talking about with other things around the world, we got Matthew, Nicole in that one area near approaching the Windward Islands. I think a smaller area of interest has formed in the Eastern Pacific. Yes, this thing, not a very good chance of development, but looks like it's probably going to head west into the Central Pacific. If it does get a name in the Eastern Pacific, it'll be Seymour. In the Central Pacific, it'll be Wallaka. Yeah, Wallaka. Okay. So we also have Invest 94C, which really isn't an Invest 94C because it's west of the international date line now. It looked quite interesting yesterday, but now it doesn't look, just looking at that one image, it doesn't look as good as it did. Let me just take a look at the latest visible. It's still got that circulation, actually pretty big, pretty good convective flow of it. So if it does get a name, it'd be named Air or Irie. It's Aere, so it's an interesting name. It's probably just Air. Of course, we have Typhoon Chaba affecting Jeju and South Korea and Kyushu in Japan, and we have 99W, which is I'm pretty sure it's moving towards Luzon last I checked. So yeah, just north of there, just north of Luzon. It doesn't really look like it's going to form into a significant system.
I just want to briefly. Sorry.
Also looks like
finish up.
Also, we got something forming in the Arabian Sea of all places. Where's this? The imagery is not going to be all that great because it's not in that part of the world.
yeah.
It's pretty poor. What's interesting, it looks like it's circulating. That's weird. It looks like it's circulating in a clockwise fashion, but that's just me. The imagery's not all that great, so that's probably why. But yeah, if it does get a name, it's over land right now, so it probably won't get named.
Just want to mention that there's quite a lot of flood warnings already occurring along the western side of Florida.
Western? Side of Florida.
Yeah, some areas around in the western part of Florida, some flood warnings already.
Yeah,
Storms miles away.
There's some stuff going on, yeah.
I saw Stephen's message saying that our thoughts on whether the storm is stalling. I saw the recent imagery. It might be slowing down. It's certainly not stalling yet.
Yeah, I don't see how it'd be stalling. It looks like it's moving at a pretty good pace, maybe just slightly slower in those last few frames. But it looks like a landfall on the eastern tip of Cuba is imminent. So they're seeing the eye wall right now. They could be seeing the eye in about half an hour, maybe even a little bit less.
If you go to the radar, the northern end of the eye wall is just starting to move over land right now. As we speak.
Not surprise me.
Sparrow has a question. He said something about a floor question.
A Florida question?
He said, like a floor, like, I guess, like a living room floor or something, like floor 1, floor 2. I'm guessing you're referring to, like, what floor you... Oh, here we go. And during a hurricane, is it safer on the top floor or bottom floor? Bottom floor, 100%.
Well, not necessarily... Well, bottom floor if you're inland.
Yeah.
And there's not really a big flooding risk. Top floor... if you're getting storm surge and all that sort of stuff, yes, go to your top floor. If you're in an apartment building, like kind of in a high rise, then don't go all the way up there. Just go to like at least the third or fourth floor, and you should be fine right there.
He also has a... Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was done.
All right. Where do Floridians evacuate to if the storm hits all the southeast states? Whatever county you're in, there's definitely some shelters. There has to be a couple in your county, at least.
This would probably help a little bit. If, let's say you're in Orlando, like I know a lot of people are, then considering that, I-75 isn't completely jam-packed with people,
I hope not.
You could go in mainland Georgia, Alabama, or even, keep going into Florida and stay in the Panhandle, because the storm's probably not going to go anywhere near there. They already had their hurricane this year, or kind of, whatever.
Orlando isn't really forecast to get the worst of it, but if you're really concerned that Orlando's just going to be punched in the face, then I'd probably say go to the west coast of Florida, someplace Tampa, St. Petersburg, something close to Orlando, but that's like, I wouldn't say go to the East Coast. Do not go to the East Coast at all. Definitely
I think just like out of observation, I'm not sure if it's like just me. It actually looks like in the past 7 hours on the visible satellite, Matthews moved actually east of north, just by a tidbit.
Possibly.
In the past 7 hours overall, it looks like it's moving just slightly east of north rather than
completely agree.
Northwest. It looks like it really took that northwest jog as soon as it made landfall when it reappeared. It's been moving northeast ever since.
Good point. I just noticed that now, and let's check microwave and see if it agrees. Yeah, kinda.
Gotta say, at the moment, it's doing exactly what the HWRF predicted 3 days before landfall.
And that may throw a monkey wrench in the current National Hurricane Center track projections as well.
Maybe.
Going back to
long as it turns right, as it makes landfall, then no. But otherwise, yes.
So going back to the whole evacuation scenarios, like where you should go. If you're in Miami, just go to Naples or Fort Myers. You should be fine there. Don't go into the Keys. That's not the place to go when there's a hurricane. It doesn't matter if the hurricane's on the East Coast or West Coast. Just don't go to the Keys.
Go to Texas and do a broadcast with Hank.
Yeah.
No, I'm not at the stage of broadcasting just yet. I'm probably not even going to do broadcasting for meteorology. I'm just going to be that research dude. Anyways, for Jacksonville, just go to Tallahassee at least. That should be fine.
Hmm.
Tampa, just stay put. Anywhere along the east coast of Florida, just move west, basically. If you want to go as far west as the west coast of Florida, go for it. If you feel like Orlando could be you could be far enough west, which I don't see any reason why that would make any sense. Then I guess keep going west towards at least Lakeland or something like that. Or here's a pretty good point. If you live along the coast of the Lake Okeechobee, also go west to at least Fort Myers or Port Charlotte or Punta Gorda, that area right there. So that's for Florida. We won't discuss evacuation routes for the Carolinas yet until the storm actually, could move there. So.
Oh, don't say that. They'll want you to in the comments. There's plenty of comments from the Carolinas. We might have
It
some
looks
discussion.
like school is out Thursday and Friday for those living in Broward County.
Well, lucky.
Ooh, well, good for them.
That is covering Hollywood, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and Pompano Beach.
Yes. I think also just because I just saw this, Recon's actually getting into the tropical storm force winds. They're actually pretty close to hurricane force now. Looks like the wind strength ramps up pretty quick as you cross the Dominican border into towards the Haiti side of Hispaniola.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting, the data that collects. Personally, I have to go just for now. I guess I'll be back hopefully by around 8 o'clock or so. But I'll be back. All right.
Okay.
All right.
My stream. Love you guys.
All right.
Okay.
So, what is that wind speed there that they just got? That's getting towards 50 knots or something?
That's at least 55 knots right
55.
there. 50. It got down to at least 60 knots, but now it's going right back up to at least hurricane force. At that point. Yeah, hurricane force.
I need to go for 20 seconds.
Okay.
TV's making background noise. It's talking about the hurricane. I'll be right back. I'll give you some information. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be back.
We'll be fine for 20 seconds. We did a whole 50 minutes with just Nathan and I. So that was interesting.
I've probably done about an hour or two on myself on aggregate. Anyway.
Oh my.
Don't try it. Now, look at that. That's sort of...
That's close.
Ooh.
That's very, very close. Not quite. Yeah, you can see the eye right there just off the coast of at least, I think that's Charleston, right around that area. And then it keeps on moving out to sea. Not good.
But the way it curves round, it almost wants to do a full loop back south again.
That's interesting.
Like some of the models were suggesting. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. And then something in the East Pacific near the end.
Yeah, that could be, I guess, another storm for the Eastern Pacific. It's just been
pointless tropical storm that's only going to mess up
All
the
right,
fishes.
latest information from news outlets saying 4 states of emergency. They didn't say which, though. I know one is definitely in Florida. I guess I think it would be
Georgia and the Carolinas would make sense.
Yeah, that'd probably be it. I'll show you the tropical storm wind chance. It definitely increased over the night. Give me a second. All right, I'll just give you off the basics. 20% chance of tropical storm wind speed if you live near Tampa, St. Petersburg. 40 to 50% chance if you're in Winter Haven, Ocala. Basically, if you're not exactly on the coast, but you're one county from off the coast, if that makes sense. 60 to 70% if you're in Leesburg, the Villages, DeLand, Sanford, Orlando, Kissimmee, Titusville, Palm Coast, Winter Haven. And an 80% chance if you're in Daytona Beach, New Smyrna, Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Cape Canaveral, Port Canaveral, all the Canaverals. And the line where the center is, it's very close to our shoreline, actually. I'll pull it up if I can.
Okay. I'm gonna look at some of the comments real quick, and it seems that more Florida talk as you would expect. Yeah, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maine. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, there's some bunch of comments about saying, that's a very nice comment. Yeah, just not really all that, not all that much really.
Okay.
I probably could have missed a comment that was actually pretty good. But I'm
Well, it's
sorry.
quite easy to miss comments right now.
Yeah, these things are just flying by at the moment. Well, not necessarily flying by, just going by much faster than usual. And would you look at that view count?
Well, we've got a hurricane, that's why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
True. So
I'll get a close up on the watches and warnings. In
no,
a second.
Matthew is not part Andrew and not part Hugo.
Oh.
No more, please.
All right, here's a little close up on the watches and warnings in effect. Hurricane watches. We've explained the locations, but here's just a little close up. Titusville in the watch. Melbourne, Cocoa Beach, some of Daytona Beach, Port Canaveral, anything basically on the south, sort of on the east coast of Florida. And this yellow right here is tropical storm watches, which extend into Miami, I believe. And
Should do.
Yeah, they do. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I can pull up here. I'll show you the rainfall possibilities. This is
Yeah, I was
3
looking at them earlier.
3 days out, which this would be Friday, I believe, or late Thursday. Along the coast, as this image says, it could possibly be up to 4 inches of rain along the coast. However, this is just day 3. But in Orlando, it should be 1 inch, 1.5 inches.
Yeah, but they're using a model again, aren't they? It's one
they're
model
using
out
the
of
GFS.
so many.
Using the GFS. But surprisingly, north of Tampa, they're actually giving it 1 to 2 inches of rain north of Tampa, and that is completely out of the cone for some reason. That's interesting.
I don't know, maybe it's something to do with the storm and some convective activity generating up in that little bit there.
Possibly. I can show the wave height, which is right now. So this is like out into sea. Out into sea. Excuse me.
Hello.
Hi.
That's Adam. And just to note quickly, tornado watches have been extended slightly to make it a full line now, extending from Oklahoma to southeastern Nebraska for those people in those areas. So that's the latest on the tornado watch. No tornado warnings right now, but we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings, and I'll keep you posted if there's any warnings that come into effect there in the near term.
Here's the wave heights currently. Looks like 18 to 20 foot, 18 to 20 foot, 25 foot storm surge near the Bahamas. Guantanamo is currently sitting at 3 to 8 inches. Kingston, Jamaica, you're pretty much in the clear for wave height, and this is in feet.
Wednesday.
And this is for Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Yes. Florida, nothing really too much. I mean,
not
you can't
yet.
really tell. Yeah, not yet.
Obviously.
It's on its way.
Yeah, but this is going to be the area where they're monitoring. Obviously, it's 18 to 25 foot storm surge is a big deal. I just cannot talk today.
Yep. I do want to put a little bit of extra information out there, just giving confirmation that we do have a full military sortie landing here in Grand Cayman, using Grand Cayman as a forward operating base for aircraft to be able to land here and prepare up for the humanitarian aid mission starting tomorrow.
Okay. This is just one more image I'm just going to show you. This is hurricane wind probability, which is in excess of 74 miles an hour. This is Saturday at 5 p.m. I don't know why that is, but okay. Orlando is in the 5 to 10%, 5 to 20% chance of hurricane wind probability.
I probably agree with that.
Yeah. Cocoa Beach, all the East Coast, 30% chance, 1 in 3. When you get out to sea, the chances are obviously going to increase, but I don't think any cruise ships are going to be leaving out of Port Canaveral, Miami in this type of storm. And I think that's it. Just to give you guys just to give a little refresher, just in case some people don't know about the exact wind scale. I'm sure many people watching know the wind scale, but just to give a little refresher, I'll bring that up. So, as you can see, Matthew's currently Category 4. I think it has 140, 135 mile an hour winds. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a mid to low range Category 4, but I think it's going to intensify a little bit, but not too much though. It was briefly Category 5 on Saturday of last week, I believe. It briefly reached 160 miles an hour. It did intensify in the early days of this storm. I think it went from a 1 to a 3 in less than 24 hours, or a 2 to a 4 in 24 hours, something ridiculous like that. This is just a little refresher on the wind scale. I'll just go over it really quick. Category 1 winds are 74 to 95 miles an hour. Category 2, 96 to 110. Category 3 and above is major, 111 to 129 miles an hour. Category 4, which is what Matthew is at right now, 130 to 156 miles an hour. And Category 5, the maximum, is 157 miles an hour or above. And that was Learning Weather with the Force 13 team.
Indeed. What should we talk about next? Latest observations on the storm. Adam, we've been, I think it's been said already, but the sort of just east of north element is continuing.
Yes, more or less. But it definitely looks like now, more so than before, that the eastern tip of Cuba will definitely see the eye, it would appear. So
Yeah.
we're just waiting for the recon aircraft, U.S. Air Force 303, to fly into the system, and of course getting better data. And as of right now, the aircraft is just north of Haiti, getting ready to make the southwest dive into the system. So, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing actually barely miss landfall. So it's definitely possible, in my opinion. But you never know. It could easily wobble back to the west. It's been going under countless small trochlear oscillations, that's basically a fancy term saying that the system's wobbling a lot. It's pretty common for intense storms like Matthew, just kind of wobble around due to vorticity asymmetries throughout the layers of the storm. It can deceive people to thinking that the storm is turning in a different direction, when in reality it's still moving in that general direction that it was initially moving. So it might look like it's going to miss Cuba, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it curve back to the west. And that last frame looks like to me it actually is curving back to the west, or at least back due north.
Or it could also still be moving just east of north and end up missing Cuba in the last frame. Would make it appear that it's wobbling a little to the west. Who knows? We'll have to wait on that recon aircraft to get in there, which they should be in there very, very shortly, because they're only a few miles off from hitting the center.
And what's the pressure they've got so far?
Pressure they got currently is standby.
Right now, Recon is in there, and they're saying at least
101.
101 millibars. Okay.
Really?
Yep.
101.
101 at the moment, where it's located.
That sounds
Which
like a
is
steep
just-
pressure gradient then.
Yeah,
I don't know how
10-
far away
101.
it is, but
Or should I say 1001?
yes.
Sorry about that. 1001.2 millibars and dropping. The aircraft is indeed just about lowered to its cruising altitude, which is, I think, about 5,000 feet, or maybe a little less than that. So, yeah. And they're pretty much about 20.1, 73.5. So pretty much on the northeastern edge of the of Matthew.
I saw a good comment from Sparrow. He asked, how far are the outer bands stretching? How does the flatlands of Florida, and by flat I mean no mountains, affect Matthew's speed and winds?
Right now, they're extending as far as the Bahamas, as far north as the Bahamas, as far west as at least Camagüey province, as far east as actually past the Dominican Republic, and as far south, at least the CDO, at least at the same latitude as Haiti, or not Haiti.
The outer bands itself of the system is extending out through central Bahamas. Farthest west is into the Cayman area, as far south as the south central Caribbean, and of course as far east as the Virgin Islands as the outer bands.
Not going as far west as the Cayman Islands, but it's going as far.
I'm telling you from the current observations which I'm sitting in.
Yeah, I'm looking at that latest visible imagery, and that's just that's just a little bit of an outflow boundary.
The storm's influence
it's
extends
not
as far as Trinidad.
Yeah.
Western side is a dry side.
I'm presently telling you from the conditions to which I am under right now. I'm sitting on.
What I'm referring to is actual storm, like actual thunderstorm activity. That's extending as far as central Bahamas, as far west as at least Camagüey province, as far east as the eastern, at least the Punta Cana area in the Dominican Republic, and as far south well, I guess the Tiburon Peninsula.
Yeah,
in the Cayman Islands, that just looks like a little bit of an outflow boundary. That doesn't look like anything significant at all.
Tell that to Haiti.
Here's some information.
Go ahead.
Some closures in West Palm Beach. No, not West Palm Beach. Just some counties consisting of Palm Beach County, Martin County, St. Lucie County, Indian River County, and Okeechobee County due to Matthew. I'll start off with Palm Beach. Palm Beach County schools are closed Thursday into Friday. School board meeting for Wednesday is currently canceled. County clerk and courts will close Wednesday at 1 p.m. Jury duty canceled on Wednesday and Thursday. For first-time jurors should call a number 561-355. It's a number for the courts, I guess. Foreclosure sales scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday canceled. Diocese, I think I'm pronouncing that right, of Palm Beach will follow the same procedures as public schools. AVDA's Race for Hope on Saturday, October 3rd, has been rescheduled. On the Ave in Delray Beach, rescheduled for October 3rd at the Pineapple Grove Arts District along Northeast 2nd Avenue from 5 to 9 p.m. Palm Beach County Garden City Council meeting canceled. Florida Trump's Woman Tour canceled. Florida FAU to make decision Wednesday morning on whether its campuses will be closed. Here's Martin County. Public schools closed on Thursday and Friday. Before and after school activities and events canceled on those days as well. Early dismissal for Wednesday, October 5 confirmed. No extended day programs are available at this time. St. Lucie County. Public schools are closed Thursday and Friday. County Code Board meeting for October 5th is canceled. John Carroll High School to be closed Thursday, Friday. Closed Wednesday from noon to 3 p.m. Transportation planning meeting on October 5th canceled. City events canceled for Thursday, Friday. Indian River State College closes all campuses beginning at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday. All activities and classes canceled on Wednesday. College closed Thursday and Friday and reopened on Monday. This is Indian River County. Indian River County schools will follow an early release schedule on Wednesday, October 5th, as a precautionary measure to Hurricane Matthew. All after-school activities are canceled on Wednesday, and a decision on whether to close schools on Thursday, Friday will be made. It should be made tonight. Okeechobee County schools, along with EOC, are monitoring Hurricane Matthew very closely, and as soon as any decisions are made in regards to schools closing, they will let their students know as soon as possible on their Facebook page, as well as some automatic phone calls. Sheriff's Office says decision on shelters will be made after a meeting on Wednesday morning. That's pretty much it for everything closed in these counties.
All right, thank you very much. No new news on the warnings, though a hurricane watch is now in effect for Lake Okeechobee. I've not checked to see whether the National Hurricane Center have updated to reflect that, or whether they're going to wait for the next advisory, which it looks like they are.
I would wait for the next advisory. Looking at the actual forecast advisory, it looks like no change. Although they do have in their local statements tab, they do mention the whole, at least what's it called? Not the word, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Hank's being taken out of action over there. Well, I'm not sure what else to discuss at this point, though. As far as we know, there isn't really any news that has gotten out of Haiti at this point, as far as we know, unless anyone knows different.
Liam Gaming 123 is reporting that Obama's just made a statement about South Carolina, Florida.
I doubt that.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't think so.
No, I don't think that's true.
Should we take some questions?
If there are any questions to answer.
Yeah, they're just whizzing by at this point. The vast majority.
Says, is it coming to New York? There you go.
We
Too
don't.
early to tell.
You've got one.
We don't know.
Too early to tell.
Too early to tell. Actually, Sparrow C asked a question. Are waterspouts dangerous? Do they pose a risk with Matthew? With any storm like this, yes, there are waterspouts. Typically in hurricanes, your tornadoes / waterspouts are, they're pretty good. They're pretty not pretty good. Why am I slurring my speech so much? They're pretty weak. That's the word. So they don't really do all that much damage, although they can be quite numerous, especially with Hermine recently. That Hermine produced quite a few tornadoes. Mostly weak ones. I apologize for the dog in the background. Excuse that. They're typically very weak in general, and waterspouts are typically much weaker than tornadoes.
Is it going to hit Fort Stewart, Georgia? Says Tobias.
We don't know. For all of these questions asking if it's going to hit anywhere in the U.S., the answer still is we don't know.
I live in Cape Hatteras. Should I evacuate? No, not yet.
You know the answer.
Not anytime soon. Well, not for at least
Sparrow
another day or two.
Sparrow asks, should electronic be turned off except for phones, and what about laptops?
Well, it depends on the situation. It depends on where you live, and depends on what the evacuation orders are for your area.
But to keep updates on your phones, with the Hurricane Center, I'd say have your phone just fully charged before the storm.
Yeah, Jamie Riley, pretty good question. He says how many dead? He's referring to how many people have perished as a result of Matthew. So far, last I checked, it was 8. Though I hate to say it, but I would not be surprised if that jumps up to 800.
Oh please! You can't speculate a number, but it will rise.
Well, okay, well, it would rise substantially in my opinion. 10 confirmed deaths now. Okay.
Is it?
It's 10 now. Yes, and I would imagine that number would go up quite significantly. So that's actually a question that's not related to the United States. Congratulations. Let's see, what else?
Did you get that confirmed?
Jazz.
What?
You know, I just feel we need to have all our information confirmed before we go out and say it.
Yeah. It's 10 people right now, but as the storm begins to clear Haiti and the damage is assessed, I would imagine that's probably going to go up.
All right. We're going to take a break now. We're coming up to the end of the hour. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Stay tuned. More coverage on Hurricane Matthew on the way.